The Bloodline had a major cancelled storyline, so we'll see what happened there. We'll also check out Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville's big announcement, latest with Liv Morgan, and much more. Let's start things off with this Money in the Bank update. Money in the Bank season is always a fun time of the year because everyone is looking at the participants in the match and trying to figure out who is the best shot to not only win the contract, but also successfully cash it in. It was a successful 2021 for both Money in the Bank contract winners. Nikki ASH successfully cashed in her contract to become Raw Women's Champion for the first time, and Big E successfully cashed in for his contract to become WWE Champion for the first time as well. So now we turn to 2022, and the search for the new contract winners is back on. Who's the fan favorites? Who's rolling into the event with the most momentum? Well, let's discuss. For the men's Money in the Bank match, 4 strong participants are in the match so far, with Seth Rollins, Drew McIntyre, Omos, and Sheamus, with more names to be coming in the next few weeks. But from these 4 names alone, Seth Rollins and Drew McIntyre are the biggest favorites. The men's Money in the Bank winner has to be someone credible enough to not only win this match, but also successfully and believably defeat Roman Reigns. Interesting little side fact, since Roman's Universal title reign started in August 2020, he's never had to deal with the threat of someone cashing in the Money in the Bank on him. The 2020 and 2021 cash-ins both happened on Raw to the WWE Champion, but now that Roman holds both world titles, WWE can no longer avoid Roman Reigns for when it comes to the Money in the Bank cash-in. Now, there's no other choice. The Money in the Bank contract holder has to face Roman Reigns. So for the first time in his 600-day plus reign, Roman will have to deal with the idea of having a massive target on his back from the contract holder. Seth and Drew are 2 highly credible cash-in opponents for Roman Reigns. Seth Rollins recently spoke on Raw about how he's going to win the contract and successfully cash in on Roman Reigns once again. Seth mentioned how he's the only superstar that always has Roman's number and can take him down. Seth also referenced his Money in the Bank cash-in from WrestleMania 31, which is arguably the biggest cash-in WWE has ever seen. Seth cashed in during Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar in the main event of WrestleMania and was successful by pinning Roman Reigns in that match. Seth teased the idea that this second cash-in would be so much bigger and better than his original Money in the Bank cash-in. Drew McIntyre, on the other hand, has been teasing the idea of facing Roman Reigns for the longest time. So if he wins the contract, maybe he uses it in advance to book himself the main event spot at Clash at the Castle. Big possibility there as well. WWE Hall of Fame member Booker T already locked in his Money in the Bank pick and is going with Seth Rollins as well. Lots of fans are also rooting for Seth Rollins to win the contract because if he does, then that does open up the window for WWE possibly recreating the moment of Seth Rollins cashing in during a Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar match. Another Seth Rollins world title reign is something that fans have been asking for all year long. Seth has been involved in major feuds dating back to last summer, but unfortunately comes out on the losing side of those feuds most of the time. So Seth is definitely owed another big breakthrough moment for all the great work he's been doing lately. So, could another Money in the Bank contract win be on the horizon for Seth Rollins? Over on the women's side of the match, the participants for the match so far are Lacey Evans, Alexa Bliss, Liv Morgan, Asuka, and Raquel. The big fan favorite to win the match here, who's also an underdog at the same time, is Liv Morgan. Liv Morgan had a great story with Becky Lynch earlier in the year, even main eventing Raw with Becky as well. She proved that she belongs, and Becky really struggled to defeat her several times. Liv is also looking for her first piece of championship gold in WWE. Liv Morgan, now 28 years old, is approaching her 7-year anniversary with WWE. So could winning the Money in the Bank be the first big moment that gets the ball rolling for Liv? She wins the contract, then eventually cashes in to win her first title, the Raw Women's Championship. It would be a great story for Liv. Natalya recently appeared on WWE's The Bump and explained why she's rooting for Liv Morgan the most in this match. Quote, "I think it's a really unique group of women, and I think that Lacey has a really good chance of winning it. But the woman I'm rooting for more than anyone to win is Liv Morgan. Liv is waiting for her chance, and she has not won a championship yet in WWE, and there is nobody that the WWE Universe is more behind than Liv Morgan. She deserves it. She has worked herself off for it, and she is the one that I want to win, and I think she's going to do it." End quote. So Liv has the fans and even other superstars rooting for her to win it all, but we'll have to see how that unfolds. So for the fans who've been keeping up with Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville, you know that they started a series a few years back that revolved around the topic of donuts. They started reviewing donuts all over the world while they were on the road with WWE, and it eventually caught on and was a successful series. Well, Mandy and Sonya then went on to create their own donut business because of their love for donuts, and Sonya recently announced the big next step for the donut business. She had this to say while speaking with Forbes, quote, "Now we are launching our first official donut spot in Los Angeles, and this is the first interview I've ever said that in, but it will be available via delivery service, so you guys will be able to go on your food delivery app, not going to say which one yet, and order DaMandyz donuts, probably within the next few months for sure." End quote. So just some big news for Mandy and Sonya that they have a donut shop opening for business soon in LA. Solo Sikoa is the younger brother to the Usos, but he has completely made a name for himself on NXT on his own. Solo recently spoke with BT Sport and revealed that WWE Creative's initial intention was to pair him with the Bloodline. He had this to say, quote, "I don't want to be referred to as their brother, their cousin. I want people to recognize me for me. Before I debuted on TV, WWE Creative was like, we'll put you with your brothers. Then the next meeting was like, let's see what you can do on your own. I felt like this is my time now. This is the time for fans to recognize me as Solo instead of your Jimmy and Jay. Before, man, I had black hair. We all really did look alike. Again, 9 months later, people know, oh, that's Solo. That ain't Jimmy and Jay." End quote. And Solo's completely right. If he would have got called up right away to be with the Bloodline, fans probably would have looked at him as just being a third Uso. But now, things are perfect. Everyone knows who Solo Sikoa is because of his singles work in NXT. So if they ever do go back to the idea of Solo Sikoa joining the Bloodline, it'll be even better this time around, since Solo is already well established now. But what are your thoughts on today's stories? Leave your comments below. Don't forget to subscribe with all notifications on, and leave a like if you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, guys.